The world does not cater to intelligent people. It revolves around the lowest common denominator. And that's why most humans are easily manipulated sheeple who will put up with anything as long as they get their lard-fried burgers from a hole in the wall, free porn, and 2-day shipping. Curse of the High IQ dives into what it's like having your mind held hostage by boring idiots in the rat race of humanity. The cheese is in the description.
What's up, you creepy old bastards at the high school volleyball game? The shorts do look nice, though. Terrence Popp here, Redonkulas.com.
And still recovering from last weekend's bombastic bouncing bimbo ballet, I'm Toxic Male.
Bad Pop showed up today because, as usual, I got some bad news for you. You're old. I'm old. In fact, we are all playing on the back nine now. And there is no 19th hole, unless you're counting your own grave. And trust me, dudes, you do not want that one to be a hole-in-one, Screen 5. With every day that passes, we are one click closer to the mulch pile of oblivion. And that's where you trade in your meat suit for its mineral deposits. And if you're real lucky, you wind up as a guest star in Paranormal Pop. Winning. But it's gonna happen sooner or later, no matter how hard you fight it. That's right, ladies. All of the plastic surgery and supplements in the world will not keep you alive forever. And that's why you need to laugh and not take life so seriously. Why would you? None of us are getting out of here alive. So why? God, why does everyone need to go through this midlife crisis bullshit? You never heard of a midlife crisis when people died at 50? Those lucky bastards. Hell, we've only had a lifespan more than 50 since, 1905? And the term midlife crisis didn't even come about until the 1950s. So with that in mind, I had a thought. Basically, when our civilization started doing real well, and we started living longer than we ever have before. True to form, people started finding ways to bellyache about that. Shocker, want to smell it?
No.
Ha ha ha! But it is a phenomenon, and we're going to talk about it. By now, I'm sure you poured yourself one hell of a menagerie. So drink up and let's pick a fight. Yeah. First of all, we're going to talk about when this starts to set in and why. Trigger warning for all of you gender enthusiasts out there. There's only two genders, and those are the only two we're talking about here.
That is so mean.
This kicks in right around the age of 40, plus or minus 5 years, depending upon the circumstances. And to be fair, not everyone goes through this. But for those that do, there are some similarities and cliches. And it is different for everyone, especially men versus women. We're going to start with the men because that's what I am. Unless you ask all the chicks who send me hate mail because they think I'm not a real man. Wah. I also have a small penis and I hate my mom. Allegedly. For men, this tends to kick off right around a life-changing event. With me, it was my do or die divorce. It turns out when the system you spent your whole life fighting for kicks your ass over your head like a hat, you realize just how expendable you are. Oh, and did I mention stupid? Other big life events can be death, either of a close friend or family member. Brushes with mortality are my least favorite thing. Quite sobering, so let's drink. Adjacent to that, you have war! Oh my God. That's when the brush with mortality isn't enough and you trade it out for the sledgehammer. Take it down a couple notches and you have things like injuries, Now, I'm not talking about crippling injuries where you shatter your spine. You can just break your leg at work, have a minor stroke or minor heart attack. Or you have a close encounter with that big C word. Now, I'm not talking about the CEO of YouTube or the one you pay for in Tijuana, which was quite succulent. It doesn't have to be terminal or even that big of a deal. Anything like this that lays you up or wobbles your life can trigger this.
I'm triggered.
All of a sudden you realize you can't operate at peak efficiency, and quite literally you probably never will again. But I know what you're thinking. What about the women? Men, buckle up. All of the same things on this list apply to them. In fact, they're even more prone to it for completely stupid reasons. Number one reason, peer pressure. And yes, it's that pathetic.
You serious?
Women will go full-blown midlife crisis because their friends got divorced. And we've all seen this, lady, so don't you dare tell me that I'm making this shit up. A chick in her mid-30s gets divorced, then all of a sudden she wants to go back to the club and drag all of her married friends with her. And because you love her and she's different, you say go ahead and support your friend in her time of need. Little did you know, you just signed your own divorce paperwork 6 months to 12 months in advance, using someone else's bazooka juice as ink and probably lube. God, Space Ghost! And I'm pretty sure someone mushroom stamped that document with the head of his pee nice. Riggs! But that's not all. Wow, I sound like the Home Shopping Network. More booze, please. Hypothetically, let's just say you're married and your old lady is coming up on the 40 wall. So you buy her a new set of luscious fake spinners to congratulate her for losing all of that baby weight 10 years later. And how does she thank you for this? Well, she takes those new chrome spinners and cruises them down the meat market. And 99.9% of the time, it is without your knowledge, at least in the beginning. By the time you find out what's going on, forget about it, because it's already over. She's already got a new 9 to 5. That's from PM to AM. As a glory hole operator. Oh! And your life became an orchestra of worst-case scenarios. But little do they know, the midlife crisis for the women is the double whammy. Because nowadays, it strikes full force as they're slamming into the wall. We gotta do some comparison shopping here, and you know what that means out there, gentlemen. Math. Back in the day, women used to get married between the ages of 18 and 22. And if you go back farther, it was a lot younger than that. Oh my God. Back in the dark ages, if you bleed, you breed. And that is still the rule in some civilizations today. But I want to keep it legal, so we're going to stick to this age group. If you got married at 18, you can ride it out for 7 years and punch out at the first review. You'd be 25 years old, and at that age, you have a really good chance of getting remarried within 2 to 3 years. This used to be SOP for the CUNTs, if you know what I mean. But last year, the average age of a new wife was 31. That means they're not checking out until 37 or 38. You add another 2 or 3 years of courtship in there, what do you get? A one-way ticket to boxed wine in Catland with a short layover in Pump and Dump City.
Stop.
And here's a thought. By the age of 45, the only thing more invisible to men is Sue Storm. That's right, ladies. When you think and believe your 20s are gonna last forever, 40 to 80 is gonna feel like it, and not in a good way. Youth, beauty, and fertility age like milk, not wine.
Nowadays, they seem to have it in their heads that they can dry start a Model T that's been sitting in a barn for 50 years. Stop trying to make that happen. It's not gonna happen.
That's how you blow a piston, or half the football team. Allegedly, screen 5. But that can't be true, right? Because you're a strong, independent woman and you don't need a man. That's right, you just need his tax dollars extorted at gunpoint.
Let's pretend that's not true.
Yeah, because that'll keep you safe and warm at night. Here's to feminism, destroying women's happiness with one bold lie after another. Hey, Blake.
What?
You got any ice?
Yes.
Good, because I want to mail it to all of these 15 chicks who downvote all my videos so they can freeze their eggs. Oh. With that being said, we are now going to talk about all of the warning signs that this could be happening to you. But before we do that, disregard the penis straw in the mug. And go to redonkulas.com/donate and sign up for Subscribe Star. Because Big Tech can duck my sick.
Each year, the Sheeple Army looks for new recruits in Sector 9 to 5. No thinking required. Weh? So before you sign up for a soul-crushing tour of duty in corporate America, train to survive cubicle warfare with corporate land. Learn the tools of the trade and hang up your suit and tie for good. A link is in the description, bitches.
Number 1, you feel an overpowering unhappiness or emptiness that you just can't explain. It feels like you lost your best friend. And then you realize that best friend was you. And there's a lot of dudes out there that never get beyond this stage. And if you don't believe me, check out the self-deletion stats for men. Number 2, you become bored with things that used to interest you before. It could be your career, your hobbies, anything up to including your significant other. You become this apathetic shell of your former self. And that leads right into number 3. You start to look for adventure, change, or anything that can fill that void. Ladies are experts at this stage, especially filling the void, if you know what I mean. They think they're gonna get over it by getting under it. Sometimes they get on top of it or bend over in front of it. And hopefully they make a sandwich after screen 5.
How dare you?
I know that's wishful thinking. No 40-year-old woman is making you a sandwich. Even if you spent the last 30 minutes trying to pry apart her grilled cheese. God damn it.
But when you mistake a temporary blast of endorphins and DNA for fulfillment, it only makes it worse.
They love to justify this one with their fear of missing out. And that's why we call them Fomosexuals. Made a whole video about it, links in the description. This is the stage when rash decisions start to become the norm. And some of those decisions can give you a rash in your no-no square.
Stop.
And if you're the man in this person's life and you put your foot down, guess what? You're now the villain! And that's when her gaggle of friends come out of the woodwork and dogpile you to push the issue. And they obviously make great decisions because most of them are divorced. And this leads to number 4. You feel angry with your significant other and tied down by the relationship. There is no justification for this anger, it simply is there. You might say they're not happy. Wah! It's not like every divorced man has not heard that before. I know dudes who jump through hoops of fire trying to quell all of this anger. But, bad news, there's nothing that'll fix it. They're unhappy with their weight, so you pay for gastric bypass. And now their baby snack sacks became beagle ears and you gotta buy new ones. Then, oh, you're gonna love this one. They use everything that you did for them to forge the knife that stabs you in the back.
They use that shiny new paint job to give out other jobs and hook a new slob and bob on his knob like corn on the cob. Weh!
And how can anyone possibly justify that betrayal? Number 5. You begin to doubt that you ever even loved your significant other in the first place. And that sows the seeds of resentment, and no relationship will survive that. So basically, you gaslight yourself to rewrite history in your thinking meat. And why? You don't want to feel guilty when you thoroughly destroy somebody that you used to love. Now, I'm not going to say which gender does this more, but I think we all know the answer. Flip a coin. There's only 2 choices. And I just had a thought. And this explains why women especially can't keep friends around. When you constantly rewrite history to make yourself the victim, the last thing you want when you're trying to dupe the next dude, witnesses. I did a whole video on that phenomena. Links in the description. And of course, after this step is the inevitable number 6. You feel the burning desire for a new relationship. And if you raw dog it enough times, you know what else is going to start burning. Gonorrhea! No. Because you're stupid enough to think a new piece of donkey is going to fix this whole problem. Unfortunately, just like life itself, it is temporary. Especially now when your average divorced woman is just south of 40. Anyone who climbs into bed with that is probably not interested in breakfast. Unless you're talking about a fresh omelet with unfertilized eggs, screen 5. Sorry, ladies, but you're not gonna find the one in your 40s. You already threw away half a dozen good dudes just so you could put your chlamydia clam back into the taffy puller. And now, at 46, you think you're gonna find the one? Get the hell out of here. You have a better chance of running out into a thunderstorm thinking you can dodge the rain. And now that we're done talking about some interpersonal crises, let's cover some personal stuff. Number 7, you start to question all of your decisions and their validity. It starts with your significant other and then progresses until you cover everything in your life. You question everything to the point where you start to brainwash yourself. Even if you have absolutely nothing to complain about.
You and all your motherfucking friends, nigga.
You will find the reason to make that stupid expensive sports car the answer to all of your woes. And if that doesn't work, you're gonna find another compact speedster to ride, if you know what I mean. But if you're not careful, you will find yourself in a relationship worth resenting.
No, God, please, no, no.
The kind that sucks your soul out of your wallet for 18 to 21 years, depending upon the state. And these days, you better check for an Adam's apple. Can't believe I have to say that. Nothing sucks more than trying to buy a car and discovering it has a manual transmission, if you know what I mean.
There are no chicks with dicks, Johnny, only guys with tits.
Number 8, above and beyond your decisions, you start to question who you are and where you're going. Here's a thought. Skip from number 1 to number 8 and you avoid all of the crap in the middle. Because if you get here after you've destroyed all of your relationships, good luck. You've turned yourself into a dinghy in the Pacific Ocean during a hurricane. Rudderless, directionless, and completely at the mercy of a fate that you brought on yourself. That's right, ladies and germs. Just because I understand does not mean I don't blame you. If you go down this path and it doesn't stop at the sports car and you wind up train wrecking your whole life, there is no power short of God himself that will force a shit damn or fuck out of me. If you want some sympathy, look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis and find it yourself. I have no empathy for a bunch of whiners who refuse to see just how good they have it. Number 9, once you're in this quagmire, making decisions feels impossible. Once you've screwed your life to this point, fixing it is probably going to require outside help. But you've already alienated yourself from everyone who didn't understand you. So now if you want some help, you're going to have to pony up some cash. Or you can ask the only friends you have left who are just as stupid and lost as you are. It's the blind leading the blind right into the meat grinder. And maybe if you're lucky, you'll hit a few shake it clubs along the way. Either way you spinster it, you see what I did there? It leads to number 10. You become jealous of other people's lives. And this is the primary reason why divorced women lead to yet more divorced women. Let's be honest, being single is more fun and exciting. But that doesn't make it more fulfilling or less infectious. Herpes-gonorrhea-syphilis, yeah! Double shot and pills and no cure. Here's a thought. If you didn't pull a pin on your own life, you wouldn't have to spend time being jealous of individuals who didn't.
Damn it, he's right. Well said.
Number 11, and this one is pivotal. You start to realize what the true problem is when you look in the mirror and see the old man looking back at you. You never thought you would become that guy, but there he is. All of those 80-hour work weeks with no holidays, working weekends, and sacrificing so much time from your family? What do you have to show for it? Oh, that's right, a big bowl of dicks with a side of fuck your life. I would say that's a hard one to swallow, but if my ex-wife taught me anything, it is practice makes perfect. Allegedly, screen 5. Number 12, because you can't control what other people do and envy gets you jacking shit, you start to obsess over the things you can control. And this is where you get those people who water their grass at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or the ones who get pissed when you park in front of their house on public property. Here's a thought. Tell the people who do crap like that to f*** off, I'm just saying. But most of the time they focus on what they can see in the mirror. And this usually leads to one of two extremes. There is no middleman here. Either they dive into the dojo or dunk into the donuts. You either start caring way too much, way too late, or you give up and go, screw it. And that is why the Western world is nothing but a big frothy fat festival. Just slap our thighs and ride the wave into the scene of the crash. Here's a thought. You ate your way into this, but at 50, it is damn hard to walk your way out. And ladies, you are the worst offenders in this category. We've all seen these ladies in their 50s and they are hilarious. Getting their facelifts, their Steve Jobs, liposuction, and their ass tucks. Ladies, that's like moving brand new furniture into a haunted house. Oh, just pissed him off. Space Ghost. Last but not least, lucky number 13. Once you've destroyed your relationships, your appearance, and your life, sometimes your career, and you've isolated yourself kind of like a leper, now is the time for some balls-deep soul-searching. And this is a one-way road right to regret. As it turns out, if you lie to yourself long enough, the truth still comes out, kind of like herpes. You might not see it for a while, but it's always there. And when you least expect it, you're gonna get a flare-up. All of those ugly bumps and blemishes, they all come to the surface. It hurts like hell, and there is no cure, so enjoy that shit.
A disgusting, awful, dirty cesspool of despair, and f*** all of it.
Alright, I'm gonna be honest. Almost no one goes through the total 13 steps. Thank God for that. Let us all drink. Most people don't do more than 5 of these steps before they pull their own head out of their ass. But there is that blessed few who just have to ride the whitewater rapids of hellfire all the way to the end. And they won't be satisfied until they have sucked the whole dick and swallowed every drop like a greedy slootstitute. Because, famous last words, they deserve to have it all. Right?
Yeah, it's not like we live in a day and age where ideologies based on fantasy try to convince people of that or anything.
It's not like half of all children are born to single-parent households, where logic is rarer than the steak your mother cooked me after the BJ, screen 5. Bottom line, if our civilization keeps spiraling into the crapper like it has been, midlife crises will become all life crises. Because you got a bunch of emotional crybabies who think they can have it all and they should never lose. But they can't. Not in this life or any other. And that's why they want daddy government to force people at gunpoint to give it to them. Gee, I don't know where they got that. Single mother. Section 8 child support. Oh my God. With that being said, my midlife crisis has long since been over, along with this menagerie. I am done with you. Eat shit and die and suck a dick! So while I was, basically shopping for a wife, right? I dated 3 women. One, fucking dropped out of her own accord. The other one proved unworthy. And then there was my ex-wife, right? And even then, I was on the fence. And that one thing that kicked me over was your goddamn walnut chocolate chip cookies. That bitch. Isn't that stupid?
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid. Don't do that, gentlemen.